For this project, we're going to need yarn and a hook that's compatible with the size of the yarn, a darning needle, and a scissors. So let's get started. We're going to start off by making a slip knot. So like this and like this. Hook it up from inside and pull. Okay. And now we're going to begin with our starting chain. Depending on what size purse you want, that's how wide your beginning chain is going to be. But it should be an even number. And keep in mind that it does get a little smaller when we start crocheting the rows. So it's always best to add a few more. So I'm just going to start our beginning chain. For this sample, I'm going to make 20 chains. So I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 18, 19, 20. Okay, you make it as wide as you want it to be. If you want, it should fit your phone. If you want, it should fit more or less things, whatever you want. Okay, so now for the first row, we're going to begin from the second chain from our hook. So this one here is the first chain, so we're going to go into the second one over here and just make a regular single crochet right over here. Okay, and now we're going to begin the repeat, which is chain 1, skip 1, skip the next chain, go into the one after that and make a single crochet. Okay, again, chain 1, skip 1, go into the next, and single crochet. This is the same pattern that we're going to have throughout the whole project. It's called the linen stitch, and it's basically chain 1, skip 1, crochet 1. So, chain, skip, crochet 1. Chain, skip, crochet 1. And we want to end off in a crochet 1. That's why we did an even number, because then the last stitch is going to be a crochet 1. Okay, so once we finish the first row, we're going to end off with a crochet 1 and turn. Now we turned it around, and here's a little trick to get those neat flat side edges. What we're going to do is, before we go into the first hole over here, we're going to make a single crochet over here. In this one that we made over here, we're going to go into that. So it's the one right before that single chain that we just made. The one right before that. Go in there and make a single crochet. And then chain 1. And now we're going to start going into these holes of the chain 1 that we made from the last row. So into the hole, make a single crochet and chain 1. Look for the next hole. Here it is. Go in, make a single crochet and chain 1. The next one, if it's a little hard to see, you could stretch it out a little bit and you'll see it over here. Single crochet, chain 1, next hole, single crochet, chain 1. Now when we get to the last hole over here by the end of the row, instead of going into the hole, we're going to go into the stitch, the last stitch that's over here. If you see over here, there's that little V over here. So instead of going into the hole of the chain, we're going to go into that V. So find that V over here, go into both ends of the V, and there make your single crochet, the last one on this row, and chain 1, turn around the work, and again we're going to begin by going into that first stitch over here that we did before the chain 1 over here. Go into there, single crochet, chain 1, and continue looking for the holes from the previous row of chain 1s. Here it is, chain 1, again, when we reach the end, we're not going to go into the next chain 1 over here. We're going to go into that V, this last V over here, chain 1, turn around, go into that stitch, chain 1, and begin going into the holes again. So we're going to continue on this way until we have as much as we need. That could be folded double, and a little bit extra that'll be for the flap. So just continue on going until you have the desired length. Once you have the length that you need in order to fold and then have enough for a flap, again, I'm doing a very small sample over here, but you'll do whatever size you want. So we're just going to finish this row over here. Going into that last V, and we're not going to do that last chain 1 after the last stitch on the row. We're going to leave it like this. Take a scissors and cut and close off this stitch. There we go. Okay, so our rectangle is already finished. The way it's going to be is like this, folded, and then the flap. So now what we need to do is close up the sides. So let's take our darning needle and take a piece of yarn. Should be a generous piece to make sure you have enough. So we'll take our thread over here and fold this not in half, but as much as we want before the flap. So something like this. Let's see, is that a big enough flap? Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, now we're going to go into here. So we're going to take one side and the other side and pull not until the end. And with this tail, we're going to close it so that it's tight and connected. I like to do a tight double knot. There we go. And now we're just going to sew it up all the way down. Once we've reached the end, I'm just going to go back a little bit to secure it in. So I go like this, and then I go into the loop to make a kind of knot and cut off. Okay, so this side is already nice and closed, and now we're going to do the exact same thing for the other side. Okay, so our purse is nice and closed. Let's now flip it to the other side so that we have the right side out. Here we go. See those nice neat corners over here and this flap. So if you want to leave it as a wallet, you could totally do that. Just remember to sew in all your ends, and you could add maybe a button or a buckle here in middle or on the sides, whatever you want. But I'm going to show you how to add a strap so that it could be a wearable purse. So we're actually going to put it back to the wrong side. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up stitches from this side and then from the parallel row over here, from the same row over here, to make this strap. Now for this one, we're going to pick up an odd amount of stitches. So I'm going to pick up 2 from here and then 1 from kind of in the middle and then another 2 from here. If you want to make the strap wider, you could pick up more. If you want to make it smaller, you could pick up less. Just make sure that it's the same amount on both sides plus 1 in middle to make it an odd number. So let's get, here I already made a slip knot over here. And now we're going to pick up 1 and 2. Now I'm going to find 1 from here in the middle. 3, oops. It's basically the stitch that we sewed. 3, and now another 2 from this row over here, the same row as here. Could be a little tricky to find, but take your time. Here's 1 and 2. Okay, so I have 5 stitches picked up all together, 2 on here, 2 on here, and another one in the middle. Now we're going to start again with the linen stitch. So chain 1, turn around, go into that first one over here, right after the chain. 1, chain 1, skip 1, go into the next one, chain 1, skip 1, and go into the next one. And now we're going to just continue exact same way as we did the purse, doing the linen stitch for the strap. And here you can really vary the size that you want. If you want it to be a long strap to go over your shoulder, or if you want it to be just a short strap to go just over the arm, whatever you like, you could really play around with it. Just continue making it longer and longer, and then I'll show you how to connect it on the other side. Once we have the length we need, so first of all, make sure that it's not twisted anywhere along the way. And now we're going to connect it to the other side. So, as we did at the beginning, we're going to pick up 2 stitches from here, one from in middle and 2 stitches from the same row over here. So let's see here, where's 2 over here? 1 and 2. So let's go. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the crochet place over here and then into this stitch over here, and like this we pick up both sides and we connect them, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So not a crochet stitch, a slip stitch. We're just going to pull the yarn through all of that, just like that. Okay, so that's one. Now the next one, we're going to pick up here the next stitch and the next stitch over here, 2, pull the yarn through all of those, then pick up the next one over here, 3, and we're going to go into a stitch here in the middle, pull through, and then 4. Let's find it over here. Here we go. Pull through, and the last one, this last V over here, and the next stitch on this row over here, pull through all of that, and there we go. Now we're going to snip this, leaving a little bit of a tail, and close it up, pull that tight, and now all that's left is sewing in all these little tails over here. So we got our trusty little darning needle, and we're going to sew them all in. Now we're going to turn it back to the right side, and our purse is done. Look at that cutie pie. Of course, you're going to have a bigger size. This is just for the sample. Here's the buckle over here. You can see that it goes in nicely with the strap. The strap doesn't bother it from closing down like this. And again, if you want, you can add a button. I think it would be best to add 2 buttons on both sides so it should close nicely, because if you add just one in the middle, the sides are going to curl up. So best would be to add 2 buttons on both sides, or buckles, or whichever you like, or you could even just leave it just a flap, and it's easy to open and close. And there we go with the strap, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. All the best.